So I do want to start off by saying that yes, this story was released on the 1st of April, and so it could be some sort of April Fool's troll, and so do bear that in mind, but hopefully it is pretty legit information, because if it is undoubtedly pretty exciting news about future SE models and how we could see a 2022 SE with a 4.7-inch screen and 5G, but more importantly we could see a 2023 SE with a 6.1-inch hole punch design. Now yes, I know that sounds pretty sus, but either way, let's delve into it, so make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. And with that being said, let's just tuck in. So Ross Young, if you don't know, is an established display analyst, and so he knows quite a lot about displays coming in future smartphones, and in fact he does have a credibility rating of 100%, though do bear in mind he hasn't leaked a lot, and so he does have a pretty limited track record. But anyways, delving into the 2022 iPhone SE, he pretty much corroborates with everything Min-Chi Kuo told us in a previous report a few weeks ago. So essentially, this new version of the iPhone SE in 2022 should be the same SE we have today, but with 5G, and of course, the A15 chip. Now I have voiced my opinions about this in the past, but basically I'm completely against this. I do not like this idea at all because, number one, the design we have right now is pretty old as it is, and in 2022, it would be an 8-year-old design. A design that's nearly a decade old, and Apple surely can't be selling a phone that has such an old design at $400, because that's kinda like daylight robbery in my opinion, especially when the competition is offering hole punch displays today. And so in 2022, they could be offering notchless designs for all we know. But without a doubt, the worst thing about this 2022 iPhone SE is gonna be 5G, because imagine having 5G, which is pretty inefficient right now and sucks every little bit of battery life you have in a phone with a 1821 mAh battery. That is a recipe for disaster, and the phone will probably last around 10 minutes before it just dies. And so yes, I'm not looking forward to this 2022 SE at all. Now yes, I am aware this phone will still sell in huge numbers like the 2020 iPhone SE is right now, because I guess for the average consumer they just need the phone to nail the essentials, and the SE does sort of do that. But guys, I'm sorry, I just can't accept Apple selling such a lazy phone for $400 in 2022, because like I said, the Android competition is stepping up their game in the entry-level segment, and so I feel like Apple has a responsibility to offer their consumers more value, and thankfully this will be the case in 2023, because yes, apparently the SE in 2023 could come with a 6.1-inch hole punch design, so yes, it will actually have a somewhat modern design. Now of course, like I said at the beginning, this could be the April Fool's joke, because realistically this does not really make sense, since the SE and a lot of Apple's entry-level offerings usually recycle existing designs, and of course we don't have an iPhone with a hole punch, and so Apple offering a premium feature on their budget iPhone does seem pretty unrealistic. Another thing to bear in mind is that traditionally, the iPhone SE has been a 4-year cycle, and so having 2 iPhone SE refreshes in the span of 2 years does again seem pretty unlikely. But guys, you know what? I trust Ross Young, and I'm gonna rationalize why this could be true, and that begins with actually a report from Min-Chi Kuo a while back. So in the early days of 2020, Min-Chi Kuo said that in 2021, Apple was planning to release a new budget iPhone with a design that's very similar to the iPhone XR and 11, but instead of Face ID and the notch, it would remove all that for a Touch ID power button and possibly a notchless design. Now yes, I know this seems a little too good to be true, but I think parts of it do make sense and also corroborate with this new report from Ross Young, and so I'm inclined to believe that this could somewhat be true, and here's my thinking as to why. So number one, we have heard about an iPhone SE Plus launching in the near future, and this 2023 iPhone SE could be just that. So it won't be as cheap as the $400 SE, instead it could come out at a price of around $600, which I guess would be reasonable for what's being offered. Another key thing to note is that Min-Chi Kuo did say that in 2022, we could see flagship iPhones with the hole punch display, and so Apple reusing that technology for a $600 iPhone SE Plus doesn't seem completely absurd, and so I can see that being another reason as to why this is feasible. Especially considering that we could see notchless flagship iPhones in 2023. It does kind of make sense that the iPhones under the flagship iPhones in the lineup have, of course, a hole punch display instead. Another reason could be the fact that, of course, Apple can save money on other components. For example, the Touch ID power button is already available on the iPad Air, and of course, this should largely be based on the iPhone 11 for the most part, and so that could counteract the costs of having a hole punch display. And of course, apart from the hole punch, there should also be the differentiation of LCD on this iPhone SE Plus, and of course OLED with the flagship iPhones, and so I do feel like that's enough of a gap between both ranges so that Apple can of course make the SE Plus enticing enough to consider, but also it isn't so good that it starts eating into, of course, the flagship iPhone sales. But I do want to note that one thing I've noticed about Min-Chi Kuo is that his timelines can be a little wrong. For example, he did say this iPhone SE Plus would launch in 2021 originally, and of course, we haven't got one, and we probably won't. And so yes, do bear in mind that maybe this could be happening a little later in the future instead. But tell me in the comments below, are you looking forward to this new SE with a hole punch? Because personally, I want this so bad. I am so ready for this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors. Check out the video in the icon above about the mixed reality headset that Apple's releasing in 2021. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.